Hey all, Tyler here from eBike Commuting. Today we're going to be walking through the Priority Bicycle's current e-bike. It costs $3,299 and I'm going to be answering the question, is it worth it? Recently I rode the Priority Current 215 miles from Seattle to Portland over the course of 2 days, so I have had a solid amount of miles with it. I've got another video about that experience that I'll link in the description. Today is really all about those nitty-gritty details of the Priority Current, so let's dive in. First, let's start with some basic stats about the Priority Current. It's a Class 3 e-bike with a top speed of 28 miles per hour. The bike weighs 53 pounds and features a 500-watt mid-drive motor with 140 newton meters of torque. It uses a torque sensor for its 5 levels of pedal assist and has a 500 watt-hour battery that provides a range of 20 to 50 miles. Finally, like I said earlier, it retails starting at $3,299. Now, let's talk about what I really like about the Priority Current. First is that it comes with a mid-drive motor with a torque sensor. In general, this is my preferred e-bike setup because it gives you a very natural pedaling experience. You don't really get those sudden accelerations that often come with an e-bike that utilizes a cadence sensor. Now, a lot of people, when they go to buy an e-bike, they primarily look at how many watts does a motor produce. And that, I get it, like pretty much every marketing page for an e-bike, screams how many watts does it have, 1,000 watts, 1,500 watts. Watts sell, basically. But really, watts are not the important thing when it comes to an e-bike's motor. Torque is more important, in my opinion. Torque is really about helping you accelerate. That means whether you're on a flat, you get up to speed faster, or if you're going up a hill, the torque is what's going to get you up that hill. Really, watts are only about kind of what's the top speed that the e-bike can reach. So when it comes to e-bikes, I really recommend you look at torque. You can have all the watts in the world on a motor, but without any torque, pretty much useless. What do I mean by low torque? In general, e-bikes can be categorized kind of into 3 groups when it comes to torque. First are e-bikes that have less than 40 newton meters of torque. These are e-bikes made for flat city commutes or gently rolling hills. They're largely for leisurely, slow rides. Second are e-bikes with torque between 40 to 60 newton meters. Now the bikes are starting to be able to handle hills pretty well, and they have really good acceleration on flat roads. And the third bucket of e-bikes are ones that have more than 60 newton meters of torque. These are the ones that can tackle any hill and they accelerate super quickly. So with those 3 buckets in mind, let's go back to the Priority Current. The Priority Current has 140 newton meters of torque. That is way more than all the other bikes. That's like almost puts it out of the category of that highest group of e-bike torque. A bike I reviewed recently that I said had really good torque was the Gazelle Ultimate, and that bike only had 80 newton meters of torque. So you can kind of see on this scale, like you have most e-bikes kind of right in the middle here, and then the Priority Current is sitting way, way, way over here with tons of torque. With that 500 watt motor plus 140 newton meters of torque, this thing accelerates super quickly and it tackles every single hill I've thrown at it. Steep Seattle inclines, no problem. It just shoots right up them. So I've been super impressed with that watt to torque combo. And the next thing I really like about the Priority Current is that it uses a Gates carbon belt drive. Belt drives are known for their longevity, maintenance-free, and also super smooth pedaling experience. And Gates carbon drives makes, hands down, the nicest belt drives on the market. So Priority has opted for a super high quality belt drive on this e-bike. As someone who lives in the Pacific Northwest and often rides in the rain, I love how the belt drive handles the rain and wet city grip. Plus, there's literally no maintenance needed after riding in the rain, as opposed to a chain drive bicycle, which requires regular cleaning and oiling. Also, speaking of rain, it's worth highlighting that the rain fenders on the Current go down super far. This really provides a lot of excellent coverage on both the rear and front wheels. Now back to the drivetrain. Priority has paired the belt drive with an internal geared hub. This means that the gears are protected from elements. Another plus for riding in bad weather that the Priority Current has. When you're ordering, you can choose between the Shimano Inter 5 internal hub or the Enviolo heavy duty, which costs $200 more. The one I'm reviewing today has a Shimano hub. If you aren't familiar with the Envioli hub, let me show you how it works. It's essentially a hub that doesn't have set gear. So instead of clicking through the 5 gears like you do on the Shimano hub, you make small adjustments to the grip shift and the hub responds. It's got this fun little diagram here of a biker. And as you shift the grip, the incline of that biker increases. And this gives you a really nice reference point when you glance down, since there are no set numbers. What's really nice about the Enviolo hub is that you can basically find the perfect gear ratio to match whatever incline you're on. I have it on another one of my e-bikes, and it definitely took a little while getting used to because I'm so used to, clicking between gears. But once I did figure it out, I definitely prefer it over the Shimano hub. And so if you're on the fence, I think it is worth a $200 upgrade. It definitely is just a much more smoother, pleasant shifting experience. So let's talk about the design of the Priority Current. I really like the clean look of it. The step-through frame ensures easy on and offs, and the battery is fully integrated into the frame, making it, at first glance, not look like a traditional e-bike with a bulky battery. The Current doesn't scream e-bike. The battery is fully removable and it's easy to take off to charge, but you can also charge it on the e-bike as well. Another thing I like about the Current is how well it handles. It's super responsive and agile. It's great on pavement or gravel trails. I rode it 215 miles in 2 days and found it super comfortable to ride. You are in a slightly more aggressive riding position than, say, a beach cruiser type e-bike. The position still feels natural, and I don't feel like I'm riding too aggressive, like too far forward. Like, say, when I've ridden the Ride 1-Ups, Roadster, or Wing Freedoms e-bikes, those you're much more, lean forward, aggressive posture. One more thing worth mentioning about Priority Current is that they are known for great customer service. A lot of direct-to-consumer brands can sometimes struggle providing good customer service. Priority is not one of them. I've heard nothing but good things about their customer experience. If a customer did have a problem with the shipping or something was damaged, the internet is full of people raving about how good Priority has done at providing quick, reliable, trustworthy customer service. And as someone who, I first worked at Nordstrom, which is known for customer service. I love companies that have good customer service, so I really appreciate that about Priority. Okay, I've talked a lot about the things I do like about the Priority Current. Now let's cover a few areas where I think it falls short. The first is battery life and the subsequent range of the e-bike. Priority advertises that it gets 30 to 50 miles, and yes, I think technically that's true. If you're on pedal assist level 1, you can do 50 miles on this bike, but let's face it, no one actually rides with on pedal assist level 1. I certainly don't. When I was riding it on pedal assist level 2, kind of bouncing between level 2 and 3, I would get about 30 miles on the frame battery. So that's kind of right at the base, like the low end of the advertised range. Now, that being said, I yesterday had to go to a doctor's appointment and I left the house late for it. So I had it cranked to pedal assist level 5, just hauling, trying to get there as quickly as possible. And on the way back, I was also trying to go fast. And that round trip was 15 miles and the battery basically died right at the end of it. So on pedal assist level 5, I think you're looking at about 15 miles. You're not anywhere near 30, right? So reasonable, a range. So now if you need more range, Priority does offer a range extender for $799. The range extender is a rear rack that has a slot for a 570 watt battery, which is 15% bigger than the 500 watt frame battery. So this doubles your range, but it also adds weight, about 9 pounds. And that weight is at the back of the e-bike, just above the rear tire. And I found that placement of this weight to be a little bit awkward. So when I stand up and pedal the e-bike, like when I'm going up a hill, I can really feel the battery pack rocking back and forth. And the e-bike gets a little bit wobbly. It doesn't wobble when you're sitting down and just riding normally, but it is a weird sensation to have when you're standing up and pedaling. The second area that I think the Priority Current falls short is that it doesn't have a throttle. Throttles aren't essential, but I think they are very convenient to have, and I find them really useful when you're getting started on a slight hill. Especially when you're at a stop sign trying to get across a busy intersection on a slight hill. That's where I think a throttle comes in super handy. Not a deal breaker by any means, but something I just wish they had opted to add. Finally, the other thing that I haven't liked about the Priority Current are the handlebar grips. I found them to be a little uncomfortable on longer rides, longer being, 100 miles. They don't really bother me on shorter 20 or 30 mile rides. I'm not really sure what would be better here. Perhaps like a leather grip would be more comfortable, or maybe something that's a little more padded. Let's go back to the question I asked at the beginning of this video. At $3,299, is the Priority Current e-bike worth it? My answer, yes. Yes, it is. I think the cool design with the belt drive plus mid-drive motor with crazy amount of torque are really the key selling points. All in all, it's just like a fun bike to ride. It's fast, responsive. It's just a great e-bike. We actually named it our top belt drive e-bike of 2023. I would recommend getting the Enviolo hub. I think that is a nice upgrade for $200. but I would pass on the range extender. I don't think, unless you have a commute, a 30 to 40 mile commute every day, I don't think you need that range extender. And I think it just adds too much like extra bulky weight, kind of awkward weight to the back of the bike. So skip that. But yeah, all in all, love the Priority Current. I think Priority Bikes did a great job with it. Thanks for watching the video and happy riding.